Daniel. I am a senior at East Carolina University. Sorry, I'm studying exercise physiology. I plan to become a physical therapist, so any prayers would be appreciated. In the waiting cycle for that right now. I was asked to share my story. I've shared it countless times in this building, just not in a group like this. So a little nervous, but I'm pretty comfortable with telling my story. I'm pretty open about it. So I grew up in Raleigh with a family who believed in God, but church wasn't exactly our priority. My grandparents were my number one spiritual role models, and so I had that. I would go to church with them, but it was only occasional. And so the values were there, but I didn't have the knowledge that most kids who grew up in church have. When I hit around middle school, I realized, number one, I believe in God, and I know these things. I wasn't, at that time, I probably wasn't at the age to be like, I'm ready to dedicate my life to Christ. I feel like some of us have to, we really have to be put in that position in order to make that decision, because that is a big decision, and that's what we want everyone to do. So around middle school, I realized that I struggled with same-sex attraction. I just internalized it a lot and struggled with it for a while. And then when I hit high school, I started to walk that out a little bit in secrecy. I would go through cycles of habitual sin and not really know how to get out of it, not really know really where my next steps were, because I wasn't telling anyone. Eventually my parents found out. That was fun. I eventually got to such a low point that I was led by God. It had to have been God. I was led to church, and it's called Summit Church in Raleigh. And I found the youth leader there named William Calhoun, and he was really the first one to tell me that I was a person loved by God, even though I experienced these same-sex attractions. Through him, I got involved with the ministry and really I became very involved with Summit Church. It became my home, away from home. And I met this group of people my age, and we learned to, build our testimonies and walk out our faith together. And that was a really awesome, beautiful thing that I had to help me finish out high school. Unfortunately, in 2020, COVID hit, and that stripped away the church community that I loved so much, because I was the only one in my family, in my household, going to church. My parents, I'd come home and be like, hey, y'all, church was great, and they're just waking up. 2020 meant that church stopped being in person for COVID reasons, and that was definitely hard for me, because I had just almost built a reliance on my church family. I spoke to them more than I spoke to my own family, even though I love my own family. But when COVID stripped that away, also at the time, my friends were graduated, and I was still a senior in high school, and so they were going off to college, and so our friend group sort of split. And so this foundation that I had really got stripped away from me, and I really fell back into my sin in 2020. I was looking for something to fill the void that we all have. It looks different in everybody, but for me, it was a need for a male partner. And so for a while, I ignored God, and I looked for a distraction. And that's what I did. I sort of sat in that and didn't really know how to get out of that until I got to college, where I started going to Fuse, which is a popular college ministry through Ignite Church. And I liked the atmosphere there. It was a cool new thing for me. It was the first time I felt like that since I had what I had in high school. But I also at the time was still spiritually conflicted. I didn't have the discipline I wasn't reading my Bible like I should. I wasn't putting God first. I was still living in my flesh very much. And so I was also on Tinder, which is a dating app for those of you that don't know. And I found this guy, and pretty much instantly became infatuated with him. And, I was trying to balance the two. I was like, well, I've never tried to be an actual genuine Christian and also live this life with a male partner. And so I tried to balance the two. And I sadly found that that's not how that works. I tried my best, but I was living more for my flesh than for God. Church wasn't a conversation that we could have. I wasn't reading my Bible. I didn't want to think about God because I had this conviction that was instilled in me from when I was saved in high school. And so that relationship lasted 2.5 years. I would still attend a small group here and there through Fuse, through Ignite, but I really sort of didn't fall away from my faith, but I was not active on it. I identified as a Christian, but it was not my forefront. That was not what I based my life around. And then in May of 2023, this past year, God really, the conviction started coming to me even stronger. They had never left me, but I remember praying one night when I was with my partner, and I was like, God, like, I want to live for you, and I know that this is not where I'm supposed to be for a permanent time. I knew it wasn't permanent. I knew it was a fleeting thing. I said, God, I don't have the strength to take myself out of this, though. I love what I have too much. I was comfortable in my sin. And I really loved him. It was a genuine love that can happen in the world, even if it's not from God per se. And I just remember like praying, like, your will be done, but I cannot do this. I need you, God. And in his perfect timing, a few months later, a couple things happened here and there. And I went to church with my mom one day, and it was a very convicting message, but also like it was, there was 2 elders up front at the end of service. I was already like crying. I was like very convicted. There's 2 elders. It was an elderly couple, and they were just so sweet looking. And I just thought, like, dang, like, I miss my church family that I had in high school. I miss that. I miss just having elders around me to pray for me and to give me support. And I want to be that for someone else one day. I have that, like, yearning and eagerness to be that for others. And so I can't do that in the situation I'm in right now. And so that was my main motivation to sort of get out of it. Just so happened my mom at the end of service went up to them and asked them for prayer for I don't know what, but it was just a sort of a confirming moment. And when I was driving back to Greenville that day to come home to what I was living in, I listened to worship music for the first time in 2 years, and I was just absolutely weeping. And God was just giving me clear signs like, this cannot happen. This has to change, and this is your moment. If you don't take it now, you don't know when it's going to happen, because marriage was the goal. And so came home, and Lord, I asked God for help. I knew I needed help because I was in it alone for so long. Nothing my family said would do anything. This was between me and God, first and foremost. And I remember asking God for help, and I just remember from the time that I went to Ignite Church, there were just some people that I happened to know had been in similar situations to what I had, and come out of it so strong and so obediently and faithfully. And so I reached out to them for help, how to get out of the situation I'm in, because I know that they had done it. And through them, my spirit was lit back, y'all. Like, I received the Holy Spirit in high school, but I was not living with it. I had the convictions, but I wasn't gaining what the strength and the power that the Spirit gives you. But it was lit on fire when I had those conversations, and they helped me rationalize, like, what do I do with this situation? Because I was deep in, y'all. It was bad. I didn't know how to get back to church because of all the things I was doing. And it happened, and I rededicated in May, and sort of tie it into here, like, y'all, I went through months of isolation when I rededicated. Macy was my only friend. It was just me and her going to church, and we were the two, it was just the people sitting in the front by ourselves. And we were praising and we were worshiping. We were learning to really do that as, like, now that we've sort of like seen life, we've seen the outskirts of life, we can sort of bring it back in and live for God. And we heard about this place through one of the pastors at Ignite, and that's why I brought those flyers that Miss Mary was talking about. And I came here and I actually invited Macy. Macy came a month and a half before me, and whatever. I started coming here, I met Miss Mary, and I instantly knew that I needed to be here a lot more often. And so I came, and y'all, this truly is a home away from home. This is where I come for biblical counseling, for community, for friendship. I would not be able to have this profound change happen in me without a community like this. You have to have people that are God-fearing around you in order to keep something up like this. I still fight these temptations every day, but I am able to overcome them so easily. And you know, I never thought that I'd be able to walk out like having a girlfriend, but I met her here, and like that God like gave me that here. And so I've had visions, and I see myself walking in this new light, this new life. And you know, if marriage is where it's going, which I feel like it is, I want to have my wedding reception here, because like this is where we met. This room is where we had our conversation. She's actually the president of the study center, so we all know her. People that come here, we know her very well. But really, at the end of the day, no matter what your background is, no matter where you're from, you know, my story is one that's very like hot topic, I guess, and a lot of people don't like to talk about it. But it's a very real thing, and a lot of people go through what I go through, whether it's talked about or not. And this place has helped equip me, and I was telling y'all earlier as we were walking through, is like, this is the goal of this place, is to equip anyone, no matter their background, to go out and demonstrate Jesus to those who need it, the world. That is, this world is fallen, y'all, and we've got to remember that our goal here is to disciple men and women for Jesus. And so let's just bring it all back to that. And I want to thank you, Miss Mary, Miss Dar, all the people here, that Michaela, everyone here that has really just helped me walk through these past 8 months of my life. But yeah, thank you.